Looks like I did. Thank you.
Okay, let me know when you're ready, Jettie.
Giants here.
Run it, not there.
Hi, Vaughn.
Good evening, Renette.
You all right?
Good evening, everyone. Yep, I was wondering where you were.
I'm here. I'm going to sit down in a minute.
Okay, I see. I see you now.
All right. Hi, Reed.
Hi.
Hi,
You can't see
Renee.
me yet. I'm going to go look for a chair. What happened to your elevator? All right.
Jettie, I'm gonna make you the host, so that should give you the ability to go ahead and share if that's okay.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, I think we can share the screen once you do that.
Okay.
There is one footnote to removing a president from office that may.
So folks, I'm TJ Jamerson. I'm John's brother. John is not going to be able to attend today, so he's asking
You got your name up.
Huh?
You got your name up on the picture.
It's supposed to be, isn't it?
We've got Jettie Townsend on today, and he's going to lead us through his riveting presentation. So as soon as we can get it up, we will get started. But if I hadn't said so already, the good news to everyone. It's a crazy day. I'm sure you all
What's that?
have seen or witnessed.
Okay.
And we got what, 14 more days to go before we get to a better place. So I'm hoping y'all stay prayed up out there and COVID free as we work through this new year. Jettie, it's on you whenever you're ready to go.
Can you all see what we have on our screen right now? Are we sharing?
No,
Okay.
nothing's up at this point in time. Now, if you want to email it over to me, Jettie, it's something I can pull up and okay, something's coming up now. There you go. All right.
Can everyone see that?
I can see
Yes.
that.
Yes, I can.
Because we need to make sure that nothing more involved happens between now and January.
You guys grab it.
That 90 members of Congress believe in President Trump.
Hey, Jettie,
But they also
Yeah, TJ.
now that you're hosting, you may have to keep an eye out at the top in case anybody joins, but you have to miss
Underneath
them
the
in.
line.
Wait, I'm not hearing you. You said what? People, if we could mute everybody else, that would be great, because I can't hear you.
You might have to do it on your end. Let me see if I can do it. Yeah, since you've got control, you'll probably have to hit the mute.
Oh,
on
I see
folks.
what you mean. I see.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
good.
as
Okay.
folks come in,
Yes.
you'll have to admit them into the meeting. So something may pop up at the top of your screen.
Yeah.
You've got control, so you'll need to admit them in.
No problem. Let me find this mute thing, man, because I can't hear anything.
Keep in mind, if they try to put the 25th Amendment, the president could object to that, and if he objects to that, that means it goes to the Congress for a vote. I believe a 2/3 vote is needed in both the House and the Senate. That's not going to happen when you have Republicans still lockstep largely with this president. In addition to that, well, I mean, I also think that he only has 13 days left in office.
You know what? I can't. So I tell you what, if anyone that's on here, if you want to hear this information, you have to listen, please. Mute yourself. Everyone mute themselves. Thank you so much. Somebody's listening to the White House news. I can't hear.
Oh, yes. I think might have turned it down a bit.
Thank you.
Just turn it down a bit. They could hear it. Yes. Thank you. Good evening, everyone.
Thank you. Good evening, brother. Yes.
Brother Vaughn speaking. Good evening. Yep. Brother Vaughn speaking. Good evening, everyone. Welcome in. Happy New Year.
Yeah, brother Juan. Okay, great.
Start off.
Good to hear from you all. Let's get this started now so we can be out of here on time, please. We don't have long. This is a recipe that I use for, well, when I used to be a cannabis collective. I used to be a part of one, and I use this to grow cannabis as well as my vegetables and fruits. And this stuff will work wonders for your plants. So it's called African Super Soil Recipe, just my my name for it. It's also can be made into compost tea. As you see up here for the Super Soil Recipe, you use ocean forest soil. I wish I could show you. I have an empty bag, and the ingredients on the ocean. It's by Fox Farm. Fox Farm Ocean Forest potting soil. And on the back here, as I look at the ingredients label, it has aged forest products, sphagnum, peat moss, Pacific Northwest, seagoing fish emulsion, crab meal, shrimp meal, earthworm castings, sandy loam soil, perlite, fossilized bat guano, granite dust, Norwegian kelp meal, and oyster shell for pH adjusters. And we knocked them out of the water with ours. And ours, we have, I use Super Thrive. It's a vitamin solution. We use Super Thrive, which is a vitamin solution. Super Thrive consists of kelp and several micronutrients and vitamins, minerals. Very good stuff. Very expensive too, but worth every penny. SD's BioAg, I use that as a microbial inoculant for water. Now you must use, when you get your water, you must use non-chlorinated and water without chlorine in it and without chloramides. Yeah. Because those things will kill the microbe. That's what they're designed to do in our drinking water, and to kill us too, of course. But and you have to have the right temperature. Like if you're doing it outside in the heat, then you should make sure your water is the same temperature as where you're doing it. Okay, so you add kelp, and that's not hard to do because all you gotta do is keep the water there for a while. Okay, then you add the kelp meal to the water. Use simple sugars. I use Golden Barrel on molasses, unsulfured blackstrap molasses, because it's rich in potassium, and the microbes love to eat that kind of stuff, the sugars. I also use Florida Crystals, which is a raw organic cane sugar, and they both have natural microbes in it. If you use sulfur molasses, it will kill the microbes, beneficial bacteria, and beneficial fungi and protozoa, all the things that are in there trying to help your plants grow. I have a note here that says super soil should only be used during the flowering stages, excuse me. And that is if it has a predominance of the things that make the flowers do well when they're blooming, such as potassium. You don't want a lot of potassium in it when it's flowering. When they're rooting, when they're in their early stages, vegetative stages, it's fine because the plants eat it up. They can use that. But you got to be careful with putting a lot of this stuff in there, and we'll go over that later. So the compost tea can be used in any, let me finish that, in any dilution, but it's preferably diluted 10 to 1, 10 parts of water to 1 part of the tea. Okay, so the first things there are the Super Thrive, the SDs, BioAg, the simple sugars, the unsulfured blackstrap molasses, and the raw organic cane sugar. Those are the first 4. Next, we have mycorrhizal inoculum, and it benefits the soil fungi and enables the plant to uptake phosphorus in particular, and they need that when they're just starting out in the rooting stages. It helps to build massive root systems and healthy root systems, and get them to taking up the nutrients so your plants grow bigger and faster, much faster. We have 6. We have granular humic acid. Humic acid helps out. It bonds to the roots and helps them to uptake the nutrients in water, and it also enables the yields of the plants to be increased dramatically. 7, we have beneficial bacteria inoculum, which is used to convert the nitrogen into readily available source for plant uptake. We use bokashi. It's a product called bokashi. Thank you. It's double fermented. Thank you. You can find all these ingredients on Amazon. Double fermented, and I also put pictures up afterwards somehow, so you can see them. Bokashi is made from rice bran, wheat bran, and blackstrap molasses, a proprietary culture, which is in the SD ag that I mentioned earlier. And so we have all that. And it's a culture, and it also has mineral powders and what's that? I'm having a hard time seeing. Sea salt. So those things help the uptake of the water and nutrients. after bokashi, for 9, we have langbonite. Langbonite is a mineral. It's natural mineral, predominantly potassium, but it also has quite a bit of magnesium. I think 10.8% magnesium, 10.8 water soluble magnesium, and sulfur as well as chlorine, 3.3%. And they use that for whatever, I don't know, but it's not the same as what we get in our water. We also have tin dolomite lime that's used to adjust the pH, and it also contains calcium and magnesium. We use a sea salt called C90, and that's designed to, that's designed to also help the plant with the uptake of nutrients. Most of these things are. Oyster shell is used at number 12 as a pH adjuster. We use azomite. It's a rock dust, a volcanic rock ash, micronized volcanic ash, and that's used. The plants just eat this stuff up. In the growth stage, you use Mexican bat guano because it's higher in nitrogen than anything else. It's good for the vegetation stage. Now, if you're in the flowering stage, you'd use Indonesian bat guano and or Peruvian seabird guano, which is also rich in, they're both rich in potassium, which is what the plants need at that time. For 615, we have minerals and manures again. Super green sand. Green sand contains marine potassium, silica, iron oxide, magnesia, lime, phosphoric acid, and approximately 30 other trace minerals. And that's those things are good for uptake. Biochar is something that we use to house the bacteria once they've been formed, beneficial bacteria and the fungi. We use either biochar or hydroton, which is what I usually use, but I'm out now. But biochar also stays in the ground for, they say, thousands of years. It doesn't go away. This is not the same as charcoal. Biochar is created by using a special process. I guess we can do a demonstration on that one day. 17, we have earthworm castings. Now that's a critical ingredient. I mean, all of them are, but earthworm castings have so many micronutrients, and that's what you want. You want all these micronutrients like zinc and borax, which help. Oh, no, don't put the ball. Let's do that. Which are designed to help the plants in all stages of growth. I mean, if you have earthworms, if you raise them, or even if you have a lot of them in your garden or your farm, you're going to do really well, because those earthworms are like non-paid farmers. All you have to do is put your food out there and they eat it up. I wanted to show you some earthworms today, but because I have a little colony that I've begun again, but I'm unable to because we can't see my video. We use horse manure and chicken manure for the nitrogen, and that's primarily in the vegetative stage, because you don't want to use a lot of nitrogen when the plants are flowering. It will help. It will decrease the taste of the produce or whatever you're growing, as well as put out too much green and keep it from focusing on the fruits. We at minerals are continued. We have at 19 hey, someone pronounce that for me. Hydroxylate or something. Fish fertilizer, okay? We have fish fertilizer, and that's good in nitrogen. So we use that primarily in the vegetative stage again, but not so much in the flowering stage, because we don't want the plants to have too much greenery so that they can focus on whatever they're trying to grow. Whether it be fruits on a tree or our vegetables, any kind of vegetables. 20, we have crab and lobster shells. We use those because they have the chitin in them. Chitin is good for killing our insects. The plants get stronger well, I think I have some down here. Chitin is derived from the exoskeletons of arthropods, such as crustaceans. Shrimp and crab is what we use, and also from insects. Another thing that they use is also, and this is a segue. Another thing they use is the insect frass, which is the insect excrement. Not for this, but they use that to kill off the insects. Insects, they die pretty rapidly with that. They have a product online called Boogie Brew, BOOGIEBREW. Boogie Brew is good for a lot of things that you can add that to your compost tea, and it'll help kill those insects without you having to use as much pesticide. 21, we have kelp meal, very important. The most important components of kelp are growth hormones like the auxins, gibberellins, and cytokines. and kelp has a very high amount of cytokine. Kelp is not the same as seaweed. Kelp is, I forget the name of it that they call it, but it's really kind of like an animal almost. It's not a plant, although it looks like one. 22, we have alpha, and kelp is very, very good for promoting the growth of your plants and the speed of the growth. 22, we have alfalfa meal, which is a nitrogen source. So again, you should use that primarily in the vegetative stage and not so much, although you should use some, but very, very sparingly in the, and I'll give you the amounts that I use when I get the pictures attached. Alfalfa meal is pretty plentiful where I live here. So I'm probably going to stop buying that stuff pretty soon because I know I can get my own and get it for a lot less. 23, we have neem seed oil. It stimulates the growth of plants and the microbes which feed the roots of the plants because the microbes break them down. The beneficial fungi and the beneficial bacteria, they break down these minerals and vitamins and so forth so that the plants can be used more readily. Last, we have sphagnum peat moss, which helps when you have clay soil like I do. Clay soil is good for holding nutrients. It's good for holding water. You don't have to water as frequently, but you can overwater easily if you're like me and you like to baby your plants. So you have to just do what they say, and that is wait until the soil is dry at about 2 inches of depth, and then you water again, thoroughly water. Don't sparsely water. You should, deluge your vegetables or whatever you're growing when you're watering them, and then let them dry out appropriately because the roots have to breathe. They need oxygen, and they can't do that if they're underwater unless they're being aerated with some kind of pump. But who does that? Okay. Peat moss also softens the soil structure for clay soil and improves the drainage. In addition, it helps to retain moisture, minerals, and vitamins and other nutrients in sandy soils. And as you know, sandy soil, the nutrients just go right through just like the water does. So you have to keep replenishing it and putting more organic matter in there so that you will have a better quality of soil. And that's my speedy presentation. Now we come to the part about brewing the tea. First of all, you get 1 5-gallon or larger steel pot or plastic bucket. Most people get a plastic bucket like from Home Depot or Lowe's or somewhere, and that's fine. Or larger. I use a 20-gallon steel pot, stainless steel, and it works for me. You also have, remember this stuff is like 10 to 1. So if you have a gallon of, what's that again? What's that calculation? A gallon of tea, that will make 10 gallons of, a gallon of the straight concentrated tea, and you add 10 gallons of water to that, you will have the right you'll have the right amount. Thank you, Don. Okay, so what you need also are measuring cup. It can be a cup or 2 cup, whatever. I use a 2 because I do it in a large volume. You need a tablespoon, teaspoon, just in case, for measuring the small of the things that you're not going to put as much in there, such as the langbonite and dolomite lime and so forth. And you need an aquarium pump. Now I used to use, can you see what that pump, what size it is? Let's go look on it. You can go look on it. You can pick it up. It's okay. I used to use an 18-watt pump, but because I'm getting into hydroponics seriously, and for that I use a much larger one. I think it's like 300 and some gallons wattage.
120 volt.
Watts.
Say that one more time.
Watts at WATTS.
120 watts.
I think, no, okay. 120 watts, up from 18 to 120. Thank you, John. Because I need that kind of volume with the amount of ingredients and the types of ingredients that I'm putting into this tea. And as a result, the tea, rather than boiling it from anywhere from 12 to 48 hours, the tea, my tea this time, for the first time ever, because I put so much in it, it didn't start. It foams when it gets close to being ripe. It starts foaming, and that lets you know that the microbes have been increasing exponentially. So my tea didn't start brewing until the 3rd day. That was way over the 2-day limit, and it still got, and I still have some of it. It still got those bubbles and that foam in it, which means it's very active and alive. If I were to keep feeding it with the molasses and the sugar, those things would last, I don't know how long, but that just tells you this stuff is really potent. The brewing container, if it's, like I said, if it is larger than 5 gallons, for me, I had to place a between 5 and 10 pound stone in there and make sure it had rounded edges, because I also use I have someone to show you this. I also have a brewing bag that I use, which is big enough to fit over a 32-gallon trash can. I got a couple of them, but that's what you need so that you can so that you can use this stuff. Yeah, thank you. So that I can use this stuff in my sprayer, because if you don't, I don't like to strain it at the end with cheesecloth and stuff like that. Just better to go ahead and buy a bag. That way you put the bag in there, you put your ingredients in the bag, and the water around it, surrounding it, it all remains. It can get through the holes, you know what I mean? The particles aren't too large for the sprayer, and it doesn't clog it up. So that's a good thing. But in using your water, I use well water because we have a well, and that gives me all the whatever microbes and bacteria out there, and then I get that. And that's what you want to do. You want to use your well water. You want to use, or if you don't have well water, use distilled water. And if you can't get distilled water, or purified is what you have in the house, then use purified water. If you use tap water, you have to oxygenate it for at least 24 hours to remove the chlorine. You can't remove the chloramines that way, but you can remove the chloramines with a carbon filtration system if you have one of those in the house. And those things are not that expensive anymore. I mean, I think in 2011, I bought one for less than $300. And I'm sure it's probably at least $100 less than that now. And they're really worthwhile. And that way you don't have to ever go to the water store or go anywhere buying water. You can have it all from the tap, and it's equally, it's just as clean. I'll try to remember to put a link to that, the place where I got mine, and in the finished presentation. After the water is purified, you add the remaining ingredients. Already initially I had the Super Thrive, I had kelp, and I had something to get the minerals starting to move. So that means I had my sugars and my molasses. You brew it, as I said, from anywhere from 12 hours to 2 days is what you're supposed to do. But I'm saying here 3 days or longer, because the way this stuff is made, if you have a strong enough pump to keep it aerated, then you'll have no problem keeping those microbes alive and having them increase exponentially. Excuse me. I should have taken it off or something with water. Once you start brewing it, you can brew it until the foam gets so much. I mean, on mine, I wanted to show this picture so badly. I had a plastic children's wheelbarrow on top of the pot, stainless steel pot, which is also in the freezer behind yours. And excuse me, that pot was in a regular wheelbarrow. That pot overflowed once those microbes started coming out, and this was about the 3rd day. And on the 4th day, that thing just fell off. The children's wheelbarrow, the foam had pushed it up so high that it just fell off, and the foam kept on going up and started leaking out of the other wheelbarrow, the big wheelbarrow, the regular one. So again, if you want your plants to grow bigger and better and faster than you've ever done before, this is what you use. Excuse me. Thank you. When you use a tea on, again, it's 1 part tea to 10 parts of chlorine-free and chloramine-free water, and then you water the plants. Using a heavier concentration won't harm the plants. The only thing that will harm it is if you use too much nitrogen during the flowering. That's why you have to be careful. Just remember, nitrogen primarily in the as much as you can give it is fine. And this is not going to burn your plants in the vegetative states, but you can also use a watering can. You can use foliar feeding, which I do when I see my plants look a little stressed. They might be yellowing, leaves might be drying up or something. I'll spray some of this on the leaves, top and bottom, and those plants will perk up within a day or two at the most. And I mean, I had some fruit trees that I'd gotten. I wanted to show you all. I mean, some of those leaves have just been exploding the last several days. In fact, in 3 days, one of my plants was, I couldn't even recognize that it had so many new blooms on it. I mean, not blooms, but leaves, because they're all in vegetative state now. And also I do stuff inside. I do it using there are the pictures. Good, I can show you. There's the little wheelbarrow on top of the bag that I put in the bag. bag came up like that. That's foam all underneath there. I mean, it pushes the foam up from the bottom. Even though I have a big 5+ pound rock in there, it pushed that up to those heights. And that's what you want. There's some of the foam that's stuck in the top of the children's wheelbarrow. You see a little peat moss behind there. And these are some, what are these? I forget what these are. Yeah, artichokes. I actually still have one growing. They've been growing for like 3 or 4 years now. But these are some in bloom, and you see a few fruits on them. I use this stuff on everything. In fact, in the super soil, we haven't even talked about that, but it's the same thing, except that you just use the dry ingredients and you measure it out and serve not too heavily, because you don't really want to waste your stuff. It's not going to hurt your plants, but you don't want to waste the materials, because this stuff is kind of expensive. But like I say, if you want to be the top grower, that's what you do. I think these are squash. Yeah, thank you, John. These are squash, the leaves, and melon. Excuse me, melon. These are melons, and there's some melon that we grew, like a cantaloupe. It's actually a true cantaloupe. This is not the kind you get in the store. Those are musk melons. This is actually a true cantaloupe, like Charentas. This is corn that we grew over the summer. It didn't do as well as I wanted it to, but I just wanted to see if I could do it in 120 degrees heat, and we grew corn. These are eggplants and some squash behind them. Some of my seeds. These are seeds from, for the purposes of this discussion, this is hemp. And these are seeds that I grew. These are some of the crystals on the seeds, trichomes. You know, that shows the potency of the hemp. And this is when we started growing them. I had them in the tub there in little containers with the soil, super soil. And they're about maybe a week or 2 old there, not even 2, no, a week. They're coming up nicely. I was also doing some aeroponics at the time, so I had a little machine, I think it's called a rainforest. I was using that to grow some of them, just to do what I used to do. Because before, when I first started with the collective, when I grew cannabis, I would only use the aeroponics because of course I wanted to grow organic, and it wasn't really legal to where I was. I couldn't grow outside. It wasn't legal to grow outside. So that's that. Some more pictures of the seeds as they're reaching maturity. You see the red hairs on the yellow hairs. On the left is a male plant, and on the right is a female plant. And that was about 2 months old. Let's see, more male on the left, female on the right. I think they're. By the way, when you're growing hemp or cannabis, you don't leave the males with the female. I'm sure everyone knows that. If you don't, I'm telling you, because if you do, you're going to end up with seeds. I wanted seeds because I wanted to replenish my supply and keep furthering the breeds that I was growing. But you want to make sure you separate them, because otherwise if you're looking for THC in cannabis, the amount of THC is going to be reduced dramatically, because when you're making seeds, of course, the plant focuses primarily on making the seed rather than anything else. And that's just a little tip. Now this is when they're nearing their late stages. You can't see my plants like I want you to. It looks like it's bent over because it is. That plant was about 7.5 feet tall, which wasn't great, but it was good because I had pruned it and everything like I wanted. I mean, down, because I had nosy neighbors, and our fence was only 6 foot high. So I had to bend it down 1.5 feet or so, about 30-degree angle, to keep it obstructed. Neither hemp nor cannabis was legal at that time. Here again is a leaf of the female. I think I took it off because I just wanted to see what it looked like in my body. Medicinally. Yeah, these are finished buds. Not finished, but they're grown. They're fully grown. And that I believe that's my last picture in the presentation. So I'm going to give this back to you, TJ. And anyone has any questions, please ask them. I thank you for being patient and quiet. I really appreciate you all. You've amazed me. And I think I have one thing to do before I do that, TJ. I got to go here. Oh man. Gabe and Deborah, I apologize, Gabe and Deborah. Everyone else is on mute. We completed. I didn't see you in there. apologize. I was so busy trying to get this thing done. They can't see me, so no one knew. But I promise you, you'll get a copy of this. Anybody have any questions?
Jessica Gaze, thank you so much. And there are just 13 days from pregnancy.
TJ, can you take it back?
Returning of the pressure.
Yeah. Can you take the control back, TJ?
Working the 25th Amendment or by a
Okay. Well, anyone has any questions, please ask. You can take yourselves off mute now if you have no background noise. Ask away. We're glad to answer.
But you may have to give me control back.
Okay. Well, if there are no questions, yeah, well, you tell me.
Everyone still with us?
Can you hear me, Jenny?
Yeah, brother. Can hear you.
Okay, awesome.
Okay. Well, yeah. So if you have no questions, I have no longer of a presentation. I know I went through speedily, and I didn't mean to do that. I have a habit of doing that. But if anyone can, if it has any questions, I'm gonna wait. I'll be right here.
Okay, so how do you invest? Oh, go ahead, Joan.
How do you do what?
How do
Run
you
it?
invest? How do you invest in the marijuana?
Oh, well, it depends on the state you're in, or hemp now. I'm saying we're not just talking about cannabis, we're talking about hemp too, but that was, yeah. How do you invest? How do you invest? I couldn't tell you how to invest. You know, they have stocks online, you know, you have to do your research. I wouldn't just go out and purchase any without knowing a couple of the things that make stocks valuable, you know, what the company's history is and so forth. A lot of quite a few, you just have to do your research on the stocks. Investing in a company, there are still states opening up to this. If you all live in, any of y'all live in states that haven't legalized it recreationally, it's coming your way soon. So if I were you, I'll tell you what I would do. I would go to the city hall meetings when they're talking about this issue. I would keep abreast of that. And I would go in there and make my presence known, not just myself. I would try to find a group of people to go with me so that you'd have some, not only camaraderie, but support. I'm telling you from my own personal experience, because these people are not trying to let us into that field, neither that or him. So we really have to organize in advance and make sure that we're there in full force, because when they see us there, the first thing they think, oh, wow, there must be trouble. Yeah, there's trouble. We've been economically deprived for over, since we've been in this country. So that's, yeah. So how you invest, just pay attention to your city councils and you'll see when it's coming your way. Pay attention to their agendas. When they start talking about cannabis.
Yeah, does that answer your question, Ronette?
Yeah.
Okay, good deal. And I just want to confirm you all can hear me. Any other questions for Jettie?
Just one question on the water, and he said you saturate the plant as much as you can.
You saturate it when you first water it. You know, not if they're already super wet, but when it's when the soil is dry down
like 2 inches of dryness.
Yeah.
Okay.
This won't hurt it. This won't hurt it. I'm talking about just pouring the tea on, not water. I don't mean using water for that. I mean the tea itself. Yeah.
And Jettie, with respect to the tea that you make, how much plant can you cover?
Well, you can cover quite a bit because you're. It depends on whether you're foliar feeding or if you're pouring it or if you're fertigating. You can, with foliar feeding and fertigation, you can control the amount that you're releasing much easier than you can with a watering can. So it just depends on how you water. But how much for, like I use, I got about 200. Let's see, 1 to 10. Man, I can't even calculate that. But for every one guy, I got 20 gallons of concentrate. Okay.
Right.
So that's going to cover. I'll only need to make about 2 of those. 2 of those in order to get an acre and a half, which is what I'm cultivating right now. You know, but it's easy to use. The main thing is just use a bag rather than if you don't want to get a bag or you can't get a bag, they aren't expensive. Then use pantyhose, anything, you know, something like that. Anything that will help strain keep the large things out so that you won't clog up your fertigation equipment or your system or your sprayer. But I can't give an exact amount right now because I don't know. It won't hurt my plants, so I use it liberally.
Okay, thank you.
Does that? Yes. Is that enough, TJ? Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. I appreciate that. The key is what I'm hearing you say.
Hey, Deb, I haven't seen you in a while. Good seeing you. Gabriel's on mute. Speak up, Gabriel. You always have questions.
I'm happy to see you.
You can't see me though. That's the bad thing, but thank you.
Well, I'm happy to kind of see you.
Okay.
I
Thank
have
you.
a
Well,
broken rib, so I'm not around too much.
oh, hey, I'm almost in as bad a shape, Deb. I hurt my foot on New Year's Eve. Sprained my ankle pretty badly, so I've got to go to the doctor on Wednesday. But anyhow, that's
Oh,
off topic. That's okay. Any other questions?
Yeah.
Please ask away.
Now,
If you got questions.
is that tea good for fruit plants?
Sister, it's good for anything you want to put it on. Just don't drink it. It's good for any kind of plant. You know, I have, like I said, I have several fruit trees that I'm growing here, and those things are just bouncing off the walls with activity, with growth. And this is the winter. I do have LED lights that I use too inside. They're inside, so you know it's kind of like mimicking outside. But
Right, because I have a banana tree outside and it got hit by the cold.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, it'll come back next year if you mulch it, if you mulch the base of the plant. But you use that on it with the banana. I have a banana plant inside here, and it works well. It works well.
Okay, mine isn't inside.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
know. But no, mine will be outside. I just got it. Mine will be outside in the spring.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it grows. It works well on any fruits, vegetables, any kind of plant.
Okay, because I did
It
put
also
the
conditions
chicken
the soil.
manure on it.
Yeah. What about chicken manure?
I did put my chicken's manure on it.
Oh,
So
that's good. Yeah, that's a very
to
good
help it out.
but you got to make sure that it's aged and it's not too hot. It's probably too hot. So you don't put it on the, you keep it away from the stem of the plant, from the,
Oh.
yeah, you have to, because it might burn the roots or kill the plant that way. Chicken manure is pretty powerful, pretty strong.
Okay, well I better pull them out because
No,
I'll bring.
don't pull it out. What you do next time you use the chicken manure, just put it in water. You know, if you're not going to make compost tea, put it in water and make an anaerobic version of compost tea, and that chicken manure will still work for your plants with the nitrogen. But the nitrogen is what will burn the roots.
Okay,
the reason why we use the oxygen, yes, ma'am. The reason why we use the oxygen is because we want to make sure that it is an aerobic type of tea. It's a live tea. If you don't put the air in there, all the microbes will die. And then you'll have a very smelly and yucky thing that's not very good for your plants.
Okay, yeah, I don't want that.
No, you don't.
Okay.
Yeah, but even with the chicken manure, I wouldn't use the anaerobic version, which is without the air, because it's not the healthiest. But I mean, if that's all you have, that's all you have. Just don't let it soak for more than a couple of days maximum.
Okay.
Okay.
what about bunny manure?
Oh, I don't know. I'll ask my sister Bunny. Oh, no, no. I think bunny manure is hot too, but it's very good for plants. I intend on getting some rabbits soon. It's very good for them. If I had some bunny manure, I would have put it in there. Good stuff.
Because I have a bunny, but nothing to do with his manure.
Well, you can let me tell you something, Deb. There's one lady on the group that I'm in Facebook. I don't remember the group right now. I want to say it's Black Farmers of America or something like that. But this woman sells our bunny poop, and you can't get bunny poop anywhere because people don't sell it.
Yep.
People want bunny poop. Yeah, it's so good for your plants. So you might want to think about saving that bunny poop. Don't throw it away. Put it in a bag.
It's like gold.
Yeah, it's like gold.
That's right.
Really? That's interesting.
I use bunny, goat, and chicken,
Maybe
and I put it all in the compost, all
Yes,
mix it
sir.
together,
Yes.
and a little bit of horse, and I let it get real old,
Yeah.
and then I just fork it up, and just keep it going like that. Leave it there for a whole year, and then I use that afterwards.
So you compost your manures together. That's
Yes.
great. Do you use earthworms with that? Are there earthworms in your soil?
The earthworms, I use a bit of avocado leaf.
Yes.
Avocado leaf, the earthworms love it, and they multiply much faster with the avocado.
Well, if your earthworms are going through your manure while it's composting that entire year, then you're going to have the castings and everything in there. It's even more rich. Man, that's like platinum.
Yeah. That I use about my compost bins takes a half a truckload.
Excellent. Where are you from, brother? Indiana?
I'm from Bermuda.
I know. I heard that Indiana accent.
Oh yes, I'm from Bermuda.
Yeah, but that's good. So you know.
Yeah, I find it really good.
Yeah, God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other
Thank you for
questions?
your advice too.
Oh,
I
brother, you're
enjoyed it.
welcome. You're welcome. God bless you. Any other questions?
If we don't have any other
That's it.
questions,
Okay.
go ahead.
One more question before you run.
Yes, sir.
How often do you put the
That's a good question.
how often do you put the liquid one?
Good question. If I had put if I use the soil and I'm not transplanting, well, let's put it like this. For the compost tea, I'll use it every 1.5 months or so. You don't have to use it often, but anytime you see your plants, seem like they're lacking in nutrients, the leaves are getting wilted, and you've already watered them, but they're not looking good. Make up some batch and spray it on. Use it or use it in the fertigation system if you have that, and it will perk your plants up. It works. It almost works like a miracle, but that's the way the Creator intended it. That's the way nature designed it. Stuff is just it's good. All I can say is, and it's not the tea so much as the microbes in the tea that do all the work, because they're in there converting those sugars into readily available nutrients for the plants. So you just want to make sure you have those microbes in there. And where you get them is by making sure that your tea is aerated properly. You got to have plenty of oxygen going through. You don't have to have a 120 watt pump. You can have an 18. I got the 120 because I needed a more powerful pump, and I wanted to make sure that it lasted a little longer. My 18s didn't last as long as I'd like them to. Good morning, brother. Good afternoon, brother Joe. How are you?
I just been sitting back listening.
Okay, well, that's probably the best thing to do. I wish I were in your seat. Thank you, brother Renee. Did I answer your question?
Yes, thank you. That was good. Vaughn. I'm using it's my sister's name.
Okay, God bless you.
Likewise.
Brother Jamerson, any more questions?
Brother Jettie, this is Gabriel.
Hey, brother, how you doing, Gabriel? Good to see you.
I'm doing all right. I wanted to ask you, what's your pH running on your mixture?
That's a good question, man, and that's something that I inadvertently left out. You have to pH your well, you don't have to, but it's a good idea, especially if you got soil like mine, which is very alkaline. I've got after each rain, it looks like you would mistake outside here in California for being Alaska. It's so white out there. That's how much alkali I have there. So I have to constantly leach my ground too because of that. Now, alkaline or acidic, it doesn't matter. This tea is not going to affect your pH that much, but you need to make pH it. You need to use a pH meter and see what the electrical conductivity is of your mixture. So it's a good idea to use a pH meter. Thank you so much.
Okay. All right. Now, for a while, I've been growing some collards, and I've been using the fish emulsion.
Yes, sir.
Which is 511. Yes, and also what I've been doing, I've been using, at first I started off just spraying it on the leaves. Yes. But then I found I got a better effect when I spread around the root system.
Okay.
And seemed like to me, that it helps the plants, as far as the leaves get bigger. Also found out is that, it also depends on the type of vegetable that you're growing, which way you want your pH to run. That's and then true. If it's a like a green leafy plant, well then you want your you kind of want your top number to be the high number and your other two numbers to be real low. And then if it's more of a root system, I think crop, then you want it just the opposite.
Wait a minute, Professor. Now you have to clarify what you mean by top number.
Well, your nitrogen, your phosphorus, and your
potassium.
Potassium.
NPK. Got you. Okay. And the nitrogen is your top number.
Yes, sir.
Got you. Thank you, sir. I just interrupted you because I had to get clarification. Please continue. That's interesting.
Well, it's just that my good friend and I just been doing a little experimenting, and so far, that has been working with us pretty good with the type of soil that we have. We have a more of a clay sandy loam type soil.
Yes.
So I think that also everybody in their different regions is also going to have to consider, their soil type
That's true.
too.
That's true.
So my compadre, we're still going through the phases of trial and error.
Okay.
And
But so am I. So am I. That's good.
so, I just wanted to kind of put that little information out there, what we're trying.
Yes.
We're still, trying different types of formulas, that
Yes.
help the plants grow good.
Yes, sir.
We also been considering, I don't know if anybody else been considering this, but we've been kind of considering a little bit, of like we grow winter grass around here sometimes, which some grasses put nitrogen into the ground.
Okay.
And we've been considering maybe instead of during the winter, planting a type of grass while the plants are growing.
Yes.
To put the nitrogen in, that way we don't have to put as much
That's a great idea.
into the soil.
Yeah.
But also we kind of found too is sometimes those type of grasses, they want to kind of take over. So
now I was just gonna say, are they invasive? Yeah, because they will compete for the nutrients and water.
So we're trying to
That's
figure
a good
out
idea.
we're trying to figure out what would be the best approach.
Yes.
And
for
doing
fixing
it,
nitrogen.
yeah, and because we're trying to cut back on the type of labor.
Yes. That's the key right there.
Of cultivating, the plants and stuff like that.
Yes.
So, it's just, we just having a few ideas that we talk about over and over, and try to find some things that work for us.
Well,
and,
at least you got a good compadre that you can bounce ideas off, brother. That's so helpful. I only have me, myself, and I. I got 3, but that ain't good as it's 2.
well, I have to thank
yeah, I know your brother. I know. Yeah, he's a good man.
John also for kind of helping me get hooked up with him. So
yeah.
I don't have no regrets. But I just want to kind of pass that little info on to everybody.
Yes,
and because it's actually really helpful, when you can bounce.
It's very important.
People.
That was very important. I so thank you so much for interjecting there, because that pH, and if you have acidic soil, you really want to check your pH of your normal soil. I want to ask you, Gabriel, do you know what's your regular pH in your soil approximately? Without yes.
My regular pH is running around about 5.5 to 6.
For me,
so
that's not bad.
It ain't too bad.
With clay soil.
With clay soil.
That's interesting. Okay. Well, you got a good nutrient holding capacity. Your chitins are certainly good. That's amazing. Thank you. We'll be talking, brother. You just gave me some good ideas. I like that. And thank you so much for your contribution.
You're welcome.
Any more questions before we move on to the next phase, which is adios.
All right. Thank you. I enjoyed it.
Well, we thank you.
God bless you. TJ?
Goodbye.
John, I know you said you had no sound. Did you have a question?
Can't hear you, brother. TJ?
Yeah.
Can't hear you.
You can't hear me.
I can hear you now.
Okay, I'm sorry. You know what? I'm looking at my computer screen versus talking into my computer. I've got a second monitor, so that can create.
Okay.
Joe, you good?
I can hear you now.
All right. I'm sorry. I thought you were saying you had no sound. You can't hear me talking. I got you. I appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, I couldn't hear you at first, but I can now.
Brother Joe, put your input in there, man. Come on, I know you got. I hope it's contrary. I'm ready to fight.
No, I missed what you said. I don't.
Oh, you can hear me?
I can hear you now.
Dang.
But I use the fish emulsion. But we were using calcium nitrate.
Yes.
Give our stuff a bump, and we did it the same way that Gabriel did it.
Yeah.
We do it at the root because some other guys that are out there with me now came from Atlanta and they were spraying the leaves, and I was like, nah, we're not using that foliar grasshopper fertilizer.
It doesn't work on your leaves, huh?
Well, I mean, the foliar does, but that was for my pastures.
Okay.
And the Johnson grass grew like 4 feet tall.
Lord.
And, we're not doing the plants that way. We do it around I tell them to do it around the base because these collards are gonna get big enough as it is,
Okay.
and we want to make sure the stem
Yeah.
can support them because they can
What-
snap real easy. Gabriel will tell you that.
Yeah, no, I've seen them. I've seen those big colors that you have. I know. Gigantic. I still don't really believe you, Brother Joe. They're so big.
That's all right, though.
I think that was a Photoshop picture that I got.
That's all right. Believe me, that's all that matters.
I believe you, brother.
My
I know
down
it's
the
true.
road,
I know it's
that's all
true, Joe.
that
You know I'm just talking. You know, but Joe,
Yeah.
you're right about the fish emotion. I use Neptune's Harvest, which is not quite as high as y'all's. It's like 241. But for what you're doing at the roots, you're doing the right thing. The whole thing is to get the microbes in the soil active. That's it. That's all we're doing. Yeah. Is that it for your? Is that all you use? Is the emotion? You use other things too, right?
Well, next year we're gonna use a triple 15.
Wow.
And then come back. Well, normally we spread it and then till it into the soil lightly. But this year, when I talked to Mr. Childs, he said it might have been gone because we had a heavy rain that washed that top layer of soil. So we use the calcium nitrate on a weekly basis to catch up.
Okay.
But we got like almost 5 inches of rain, so we haven't been out there about a week and a half. This will be the second week, and then it rained Wednesday. So, but then right before we harvest, we'll stop about 2 weeks before we harvest.
Yeah.
And then next year, well, this fall, we get the tank dug in time. We're gonna put some catfish in there.
Okay.
And the guy said, just throw your food and you train them to come to the top.
Yeah.
Said, throw your food at all 4 points. It'll make them swim to give you some type of stirring motion for what settles on the bottom. And then when you pump, it'll catch some of the particles in the water.
That's right. Okay. That's great. And you're talking about a pond, not an aquaponics system or anything. Right?
No, we have a stock tank in the ground. It's about 5 feet deep, and we're going to dig it out to where it's about 12 feet deep.
Okay.
And it'll go from 1/3 of an acre to 3/4 of an acre, because he said 3/4 of an acre will hold about 1.1 million gallons.
Okay.
And so the only time we're going to need water is after July 1. Our rain cuts off.
Well, see, but you do have rain. Here we have an average of 4 inches of rain a year. We're in the serious desert. Although about a mile from the Colorado River, we don't get much rain out here. Yeah. And so the ground that I'm growing on is riverbed ground. It's not virgin primarily. Well, not virgin. I've been growing on it since 2011. But it's already, we have clay soil too, but it's alkaline, and it's not clay sandy loam. It's just clay. It's clay loam, but it's very it's good farmland. It's irrigated, and that's the thing. So we're very fortunate to be able to get a well, and we didn't have to.
Okay.
Yeah, we're down about 30 feet.
All right. Well, I'm going to leave you guys with one piece of interesting information or a fun fact, and then we'll go ahead and close it out. I appreciate all you kings and queens for your time today. Jettie, want to thank you for your presentation. Here's my fun fact. Just like you've got corn and wheat and all that as a commodity, they've added water this year as a commodity. So, Joe, what you're doing in terms of that well is probably a smart deal, because I think.
Well, you know why I did it. You know why I did it, bro. I've been seeing this for 30 years now. Yes, sir. Hey, 30 years ago, you'd have never believed that you were going to be buying water. Hey, 30 years from now, we're probably buying air. We're still here.
Yeah, we're going to.
Joe, what's your location? Sorry.
Oh, I'm in Central Texas.
Okay.
About 20 minutes east of Baylor and about an hour north of Gabriel. Okay. And our goal is once we pay this place off, that 4 acre that we plant within that 5 acre trap, we're going to try to buy another 10 or 15 acres and move the farming over there, because I want to put a hay barn, a 125 by 150. And then I want to put like 40,000 gallon rainwater harvest tanks behind that barn. And so if I can get 3 or I'm gonna try for 5.
So you catch the rainwater.
Yeah, because that last drought that we were in started in 2010, And they ended in 2015, about January, February, and then right when they paid us for it, it started raining. So, but those multi-year droughts, they say, come every 15, 20 years. And people here, they'll drive to Mississippi, Louisiana, wherever. They selling hay for $8,500 a bale. So I figure if we could get 3 cuts, and at 1,500 bales, while they're selling it for 85, 100, we'll sell it for 60. So if we get 3 cuts, we make 90 grand. We get 4 cuts, we can make 120,000 off that rainwater harvest. The horse folks, they still gonna buy that hay. They'll pay that $100. They'll look, but
Yep, I know. I know what you mean.
yeah,
I have goats.
Yeah, and so my young guys got goats, but they don't eat much grass and hay unless they don't have anything to eat. But I had weeds by my pole barn, about 5 feet deep. They clean that sucker.
Yep.
I've never find that clean.
Forgive me for interrupting, but I interrupted TJ so I could say my little nonsense. Please finish up, and we'll go to this. I gotta use the bathroom.
Oh, if you guys are having a conversation, I have a conversation. All I was gonna do is wish you peace and
Use the bathroom. Y'all keep talking.
Thank you.
Yeah, so keep going.
Okay. You need my number, Renee?
Oh, I'm Vaughn. Yeah.
Go.
Vaughn. My name is Vaughn. Renee's
Vaughn. Oh, okay.
I'm got his number, Vaughn. I'll give it to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Sounds interesting. But here in Bermuda, the whole system is rainwater catchment and well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we use that.
I learned that tap water slows your growth down your plants by 2 to 3 weeks.
Oh, yes. I noticed the straight rainwater is like a burst of energy.
Oh man, they double in size.
Yep.
I wish you can go on Facebook and I'll send you a video.
Okay. I'll do that. Renette, I get the information from Renette.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Gabriel is also one we needed to. I'm gonna reach out to also for his strength. Okay, that's good.
Okay.
Yeah, no problem. You reach out anytime.
Renette,
I'm
are
getting
you
to it.
The food, Caribbean?
Yes, I'm getting to it. I'm getting to you, Gabriel.
Okay.
And Vaughn's with me, so we're all good. And Joe, that lady never really reached out to me.
If you can call me this evening, I'm working on my guy in Atlanta for you because he's closer to you.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Thank you for the speaker. I enjoyed it.
All right. Well, y'all have a good evening and appreciate you all joining the call today.
All right, thanks. Thanks,
All right.
TJ.
Bye now.
All right, thank you. Enjoyed it.
All right.